joined by Lord Rami Ranger, who is a member of the House of Lords in the United Kingdom. He is joining us from London. Lord Rami, thank you ever so much for being here. Of course, the United Kingdom's position in a lot of the ongoing conflicts and tensions is one of a vocal nature. We know that the UK has led the Western European call for support for Ukraine and sanctions on Russia. We also know that the UK has been outspoken on the recent tensions that have exploded between Israel and Iran, and also tariffs as well. The UK no longer part of the European Union, but clearly looking at the relationship with the United Kingdom. Let's focus in on Sir Keir Starmer. How do you think he will be planning this G7 summit, and what are the key points that he is really looking for in these meetings that will take place on the sidelines?
I think, first of all, they will be discussing the situation, Iran and Israel conflict, because that is a very serious conflict. And I think the world has to unite against Iran acquiring a nuclear bomb, because having given threats to eliminate Israel from the map, you have to take that threat very seriously. So therefore, the fight between Israel and Iran on the nuclear issue is not just between the two countries, it is between the rest of the free world, which want to protect their way of living and their way of conduct their business. So therefore, I think Israel deserves support from the G7 and G20 and the rest of the world, because the nuclear threat is not going to be confined to Israel. It's not going to be confined to Iran. It will engulf the whole of area and beyond. So therefore, this threat should be taken very seriously. Number two, the place at the G7 by India. India has earned that position by having an economic clout and developing their economy very fastly. And it is a very big population country. It has a very big economy now, growing very rapidly. And India is influencing the world many ways than one. For example, it is exporting doctors, engineers, scientists to all over these G7 countries and shaping their future as well. To exclude India from such an important meeting would have been it's an insignificant meeting at all. And number three, invitation to Prime Minister Modi brings a reset between the Canadian and Indian relationship, which were marred by the religious politics and the racist politics of Justin Trudeau, who divided Canada single-handedly and showed for his own political survival, he divided Canadians just to get their votes. So this is a very big setback for those people who wanted to exclude Prime Minister Modi from this important meeting. And it is a very significant that Prime Minister Mark Carney has shown courage and has shown pragmatism and invited the three-time elected, democratically elected leader of a largest democracy in the world. So I think it's a good thing. More importantly, India's participation is very significant for many reasons, for security reasons, geopolitics, and economic reasons, because India can play a very important role. India is a very big market. India needs to work together with all the developing countries and all the G7, G20, G10, because without the huge contribution of India, you just have to think of COVID. Can you imagine, without India's contribution to COVID, what would have been the state of the world today? You also have to think of the amount of pharmaceutical India supplied to third world countries, which could not afford Western medicine, and they would have died, for lack of cure or lack of treatment. And finally, the IT engineers, the scientists, India is exporting to NASA and all the, places. It's a very, very significant contribution. And this is just in 77 years. Can you imagine the next 77? Where will this India will be? And you must never forget, India is a very ancient civilization. It was damaged because it was not united, and it suffered onslaught of invasion, right, left, and center. But now India is a very strong number 3 defense army, number fourth economy, and it's a united country as never before. So therefore, India should be taken seriously. It shares their values, a secular democratic country, rule of law at the heart of their governance. So that means what more can you ask from a country which has exactly the same ethos, same philosophy, same agenda for the future and for the mankind. So I think India's participation will be a significant, and it will make a very, very big impact on the global issues which are now affecting us.
Yes, absolutely. I just want to thank Stephen Nagy, who joined us a short while ago. Thank you very much for being here. Lord Rami, I am going to stay with you now. We understand that Keir Starmer and Mark Carney are expected to meet any time now. They are both members of the Coalition of the Willing in support for Ukraine. They, of course, share a historical past together, involvement in the Second World War, long ties. What do you think that both leaders will be looking for in that discussion? Is it an alignment of views and how those will move forward? Or do you think there's anything else that may be discussed significant between Carney and Starmer?
Well, first thing first, they should discuss that the alliance against Russia, because Russia has to be stopped, because it cannot walk into different countries at will, and that is a very serious threat to a country like Poland and other countries surrounding Russia. So therefore, Russia has to know that the world will unite against any unprovoked aggression or territorial ambition. So therefore, they have to discuss that important subject. And secondly, Iran and Israel. That is a very, very, very important as well, because that threatens the whole regional peace and cooperation. And you can imagine the oil prices are already starting to go up, and they will affect the economies of the world. Inflation will creep up, unemployment will creep up, and we will go back 10 years. So therefore, in this global world, the big powers have to bring to bear their influence on countries which behave in irresponsible manner without realizing the consequences for the wider world, because we are all affected. What Iran does affect us. What Iran does affect the whole world. So therefore, Iran has to be transparent. Iran has to be open to inspection. Why should you hide anything? If you have nothing sinister to agenda, then you should open your door to the inspectors, so they can come and verify and give you clean, a clean sheet of health. And on top of that, the sanction will be lifted. Iran's economy will develop, and the people of Iran will benefit. These totalitarian regimes, they don't think of the public. They just think of their own powers and their own position, and they are just abusing their position to the detriment of wider public. They look up to them for a visionary leadership with which they can benefit. But unfortunately, time and time we see these leaders let down the public. They're not democratically elected. They elect themselves. They manipulate elections, and that's the result. They can behave the way they want to behave. So I think we need to be more robust against countries like Iran and Russia, that they cannot take a step with impunity. The world will condemn them, unite them, and also deal with them accordingly.
Yes, absolutely. Lord Rami, stay with us if you could. I'm now going to bring in Ambassador Prateep Kapoor, who is a former Indian